There was an announcement about Solana and the CME potentially offering a Solana futures ETF, Frank. I think that would be amazing for the industry because it would be the precursor to eventually getting a Solana cash ETF like you've seen with Ethereum. So as this starts to flesh out, as the Trump administration's regulatory framework starts to flesh out, I think you'll see that we're literally in the opposite. It's almost like you went through the Hall of Mirrors in Alice in Wonderland. We were in a very anti-crypto position in the Biden administration, and now we're going to almost the exact opposite in the Trump administration. So I like, very bullish this year for most of these coins.
The crypto world is on the brink of a seismic shift, and one man is at the center of it, Donald Trump. His administration is tearing down restrictive regulations and replacing them with a pro-growth, pro-innovation framework that could send Bitcoin, Ethereum, and especially Solana soaring to new heights. The latest game changer? A potential Solana futures ETF, paving the way for a Solana spot ETF that could break down the remaining barriers holding crypto back. This isn't just a policy shift, it's a regulatory revolution. While the Biden administration has kept a tight grip on the industry, Trump's team is fueling the fire, setting the stage for what could be the most explosive bull run in crypto history. The transformation is dramatic. One moment, the industry was suffocating under heavy restrictions. The next, it's sprinting toward mass adoption. Crypto heavyweight Anthony Scaramucci, with years of experience at Skybridge Capital and deep political connections, sees the writing on the wall, a regulatory landscape poised to propel crypto to unprecedented heights. Buckle up. The next bull run is coming, and it's going to be bigger than anything we've seen before. Are you ready?
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
The crypto industry has the patience of, a 7 or an 8-year-old, and they wanted Donald Trump to announce on January 20th at 12:01 that he was going to have a Bitcoin strategic reserve. And that would have been a bad idea because what David Sachs is doing is he wants to build a broad-based coalition that would include Democrats and Republicans to make something like a Bitcoin strategic reserve bipartisan. Otherwise, what will end up happening is you get the reserve under a Republican, Democrats get a hold of the White House, they take the reserve back, and you have sort of this flipping and flopping going back and forth as opposed to a consolidated long-term visionary decision. So the move to build a working committee, the move to sort of address this and look at it over the next 6 months, I think soured the industry. And so some of the short-term traders, particularly those with leverage, sold their positions, not getting the super great news. But I think if you read through the executive orders, which we did, we're quite bullish on them. I think David has the right ideas, and you've got positive regulatory people at the SEC and Treasury. I was with Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase in Davos, who spoke on a panel together. Coinbase has been asking the SEC for over 2 years, just tell us what the rules of the road are. One of the big indictments of the Gensler piece of the Biden administration is it was a lot of regulation by enforcement. They're suing people left and right without giving them the appropriate guidelines. Even a federal judge said that was unfair and that it was incumbent upon the SEC to provide guidance. So I think this year, and certainly before February of 2026, we're going to get a piece of legislation related to crypto that will have specificity in it, related to stable coins, related to where Bitcoin is actually going to be regulated. Will it be at the SEC or the CFTC, as an example? I think the industry is really just looking for a set of rules that they can follow that is satisfactory to the United States government. And I think that happens. I began my Bitcoin journey about 5 years ago, and I've been tarred and feathered and praised as it goes up and down, and you oscillate between genius and dummy. But I think that Bitcoin now is representing where prices should have been in 2022. And said differently, if you look at the November Bitcoin futures approval, just studying administrative law, the spot ETF should have been approved sometime in the first quarter of 2022. So all of that delay caused a lot of that price damage. And so I see it here as the community seeing itself getting propitious, decent, middle-of-the-road regulation. And if you look at the people that the Trump administration has put into those positions, I think you end up getting that. And so 97,000, 98,000 is sort of where I thought we would be 3 years ago. So the real question is, will the institutions enter the game? And I think you see some of the endowments starting to do that. We know some of the sovereign wealth funds in the Middle East are quietly doing that. And so I think it's going to be a very good year for Bitcoin.
Where are you on this strategic reserve idea, if you were a betting man?
Well, I think it'll likely happen at a small level. I think David Sachs has been very smart to delay it. I think the executive order showed good judgment because you want to get the buy-in from the Republicans and the Democrats, not just one party. You'd hate to see a strategic reserve going into place, Republicans lose power, and then the Democrats pull the rug on Bitcoin and take it out of the strategic reserve. I think you need to get buy-in on both sides. I think it was very smart of David Sachs to make sure that there was a 6-month debate and 6-month analysis of this. But I do think you get something. Remember, we have 27 other things in our strategic reserve. It's not just gold and oil. There's trace minerals and other things that the country reserves. I think this is an asset that the country will want to own. Can I ask you about Ethereum? Only because Don Jr. was out there saying it's going to go up. Let me tell you. I assume he has some of it. But do you have a take there? Well, we do own ETH in small sizes. We're much bigger Solana fans than we are ETH. We don't have a negative opinion of ETH. My partner in law school classmate John Soulos is sort of an ETH maximalist, so he's got it in our portfolio. I think that Brett Messing and I just think that Solana is faster. It has lower gas fees. And I think it's the one that's going to win the race, if you will, in terms of going into the tokenization world. Right. If Larry Fink is right and we end up tokenizing stocks and bonds, I think Solana would probably be a more obvious choice. When Becky is interviewing Warren Buffett and he's talking about cryptocurrency, this is the stuff that I think would aggravate him. I think if you're looking at this stuff, these are gambling tokens effectively, and there's a fury around them, and there's a tulip mania about them. And I think in the minds of some of the older investors, it causes contagion onto Bitcoin. People think, okay, well, maybe Bitcoin is just a very big meme coin.
Right.
But
what about the one that's called Poop Coin? I mean, there's that one was trading higher.
I don't know any Poop Coin or Jail Bond or Jail, whatever it's called, coin or Trump
Jail
coin.
Stool. Jail Stool.
Jail Stool. Okay, I own Bitcoin, Solana, Avalanche. We have a position in Polkadot and things like that. And these are assets that we think are going to grow in the world of tokenization. Of course, we believe that Bitcoin is digital property and a store of value.
Anthony Scaramucci has been deeply involved with Bitcoin for nearly 5 years, riding its emotional highs and lows as the market fluctuated. He believes Bitcoin's current price reflects where it should have been back in 2022, had it not been for delays in Bitcoin futures and spot ETF approvals. According to Scaramucci, institutional adoption is inevitable. Many endowments and sovereign wealth funds have already entered the space, and more are expected to follow. His bold prediction? Bitcoin could reach $97,000 to $98,000 in the near future. He also praised David Sachs' decision to delay the strategic reserve process, seeing it as a smart move. While Scaramucci holds a small amount of Ethereum, he leans toward Solana due to its superior efficiency and lower gas fees. Let's dive deeper into his insights. Watch more clips from his discussions to see where the crypto market could be headed next.
Bitcoin, stablecoin, meme coin, tokens, are they all the same thing?
No. And so what Bitcoin really is, and without giving up too much detail on television to bore people, but it's become a durable, stable, long-term store of value. And I say stable because it's never been hacked. It's sort of impregnable, and it's scarce, and it's immutable. It's volatile, though, and it goes up and down as the society is adopting Bitcoin. We've experienced high volatility in Bitcoin, but it's the best performing asset over the last 10 years. And so if you read something like Neil Ferguson's book, The Ascent of Money, it checks all of the boxes of what human beings like in their money in terms of using it as a technology to trade goods and services with each other. A meme coin is really just a gambling token. It has a blockchain technology to it, and you can transfer it back and forth to each other, but it really doesn't have that much value, and it hasn't really been adopted by the mainstream financial institutions. And you mentioned some other things. Those are also, security-like instruments in the world of technology, but nothing is as durable or as sustainable as Bitcoin.
And President Trump, right before Inauguration Day, created his own meme coin. What is your reaction to that?
Well, listen, I would ask people to read the Wall Street Journal's editorial yesterday just describing the great conflict of interest that represents. And so Mr. Trump is basically setting up a gambling token 48 hours before he becomes the most powerful person in the world. And so that token rose in value, went down in value. People are trading that token around the world. And I think its fully diluted market capitalization is about $35 billion. Mr. Trump controls 80% of that coin. So there's a notional value there of $24 billion. Of course, he's locked into the coin for 3 years. But listen, this is not something that I think any of us like because it's a direct conflict of interest with what he's doing, and it will create a central clearing station, as the Wall Street Journal points out. You could end up in a situation where somebody could pay him to do things for them through that token. Now, I'm not suggesting anybody's doing that, but it's just the appearance of that impropriety, I think, weakens the presidency, and it also puts his commissioner to be, or his nominated commissioner Atkins, at risk now when he's testifying, because they'll be saying to him, he's generally been a pro-crypto person, as you know. I'm a pro-crypto person. But he'll be saying, well, aren't you just acting in the personal interest of the President of the United States instead of the interest of the country? So I wish he didn't do that. But, with Donald Trump, you get the entire buffet table of Trump. You get some of the grift with some of the good business policies. And it's disappointing to see. But go to the Wall Street Journal. They blister President Trump with an analysis of what he did and how bad it actually is. I'm not as close to that situation as some of the OG people are. I got to Bitcoin in 2020. Ross and the other guys got there in 2009, 10. So I'm not as familiar with the fact set, but I can tell you that there's Bitcoiners. The original Bitcoiners are very pleased with that decision by Donald Trump to pardon him.
Anthony Scaramucci sets Bitcoin apart from other digital currencies, describing it as a durable, stable, and long-term store of value that has never been hacked and remains scarce. He differentiates meme coins and speculative tokens from assets with real adoption and intrinsic worth. Citing Neil Ferguson's book The Ascent of Money, Scaramucci argues that Bitcoin meets all the key criteria of sound money and remains the best-performing asset of the past decade. However, he strongly criticizes Donald Trump's digital currency, calling it a clear conflict of interest and a potential breeding ground for corruption. According to Scaramucci, Trump owns 80% of the token, with a notional value of $24 billion, raising serious ethical concerns. He references a Wall Street Journal editorial highlighting the risks of political influence and financial misconduct, warning that Trump's control over the token could lead to pay-to-play scandals that damage his administration. Scaramucci also addresses Trump's pardon of Ross Ulbricht, the Silk Road founder sentenced to life without parole. Many in the crypto space viewed Ulbricht's punishment as excessively harsh, and Scaramucci sees Trump's decision as a step toward justice. He notes that the early Bitcoin community welcomed the pardon, believing Ulbricht's prosecution was unfair and politically motivated. As crypto regulations evolve, the big question remains: can governments strike a balance between investor protection and fostering innovation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.